Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this new series on conservation stories. I'm Tillery Timmons-Sims, and I'm the Director of Operations here for the Sandhills Area Research Association. I hope you will enjoy this series as we follow people who align with our values and our mission here of stewarding our land and our water. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, and I'm excited today to be talking to my friend and colleague, Lacy Cotter-Vardeman. And Lacy and I have been working together for a year or so now, right, on some different projects. And we want to talk today some, Lacy, about how things got started.
Well, that's an interesting, time flies is all I can say, because it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago till I start to think about it. But it would have been 2006, 2007 when the lesser prairie chicken was first going to be listed on the endangered species list. And a friend from Texas Parks and Wildlife came to me and needed a liaison to work between Texas Parks and Wildlife and landowners to show that there was a lot of work being done. It's just landowners were not, especially then, we weren't big at telling people what we were doing. We were just doing what we did. And she explained to me what was going to happen if the lesser prairie chicken got listed, and just basically said that it would help if you had a 501c3. And so I just decided, that shouldn't be a big deal to set up. Yeah. So got that started, and that was kind of the beginning.
From there, I remember you got a couple of grants, which I think people from our area will be surprised to hear where they came from. Audubon Society, maybe not so much, but World Wildlife Fund is not something that we think of as working in our region.
You know what? But they are, everybody that I've met with the World Wildlife Fund has been very down to earth. Yeah. Very easy to work with. I mean, we got a $25,000 grant to get a no-till fluffy seed drill to put in native grass species. And, for a 10-foot, they're really expensive. And so I got that grant, and then I got one from the Audubon Society of Texas. And so now we can hook them together and do 20 feet at a time, or we can just do two 10-foot swaths, which is handy if you need to. It gives you flexibility.
Sure. Yeah. And how many acres do you estimate you guys that you've used those on?
I bet you we have done over 50,000 acres with them.
Wow.
That's
just amazing.
But that's been over several periods.
Yeah, it's
years,
been a while
but
now, right? Yeah, but still, it's just kind of interesting that that conservation effort has kind of been ongoing during the time that you were raising your kids, and something that has been dear to your family's heart for so many generations. And I think a lot of us that were raised in this area, descendants of the people that survived the Dust Bowl, and we care about those things, and a lot of people do. We just haven't had a vehicle in our part of the state to promote conservation really like there is in other parts of the state, and particular like you and I've seen as we've traveled all across the U.S., meeting people that are in conservation. It's surprising how far behind we are.
Well, Texas is just severely lacking, especially in this part of Texas, the South Plains, Panhandle area.
Yes.
Producers are just so much larger than anywhere else in the rest of Texas and stuff. And we're definitely far behind. And then just the state of Texas as a whole. It's amazing all the other people that we've met from Oklahoma, New Mexico, Louisiana, Arkansas, who doesn't have any budget at all for conservation, are beating Texas.
Yes.
And to me, that was just absolutely baffling, because I remember the first meeting we went to in New Mexico, I was feeling a bit smug and superior. And oh my word, that was an eye-opening experience to find out that, we're a joke.
So, what kind of things do you see that those places are doing that we're really not thinking about? I think immediately of like water collection, like, what we saw in North Dakota about what they're doing there to collect water where they have limited rain like we do.
And I think that's sporadic throughout Texas that you see issues like that, but Texas as a whole does not really promote that.
Right.
But then again, we don't promote a lot of things.
Right.
Water collection, just native species being planted instead of grasses that are not native to this area, trees that are not native, that require so much more water than what we have. And I see that starting to change a lot with different landscapers, have kind of picked that up.
Yeah.
But as a whole, we're still really far behind on a lot of that. And then also the types of sprinkler systems that people use in their yards. I mean, in farming, I think we do a pretty good job as a whole of trying to make sure that we use our water in the safest, most smartest use possible.
Right.
Just because we're so aware of the limited quantities of it and stuff. But I drive through town right now, and especially because it's been 10 degrees, you see where people's sprinklers have been on, and there's ice going down the road and stuff. And it just, why?
Right. Yeah.
Why not change the timers on your sprinkler systems and stuff? And anyway.
Yeah. That's, the other thing I see is, it's part of, kind of like part of the DNA in a lot of these states that we go to, and the farmers that we meet. They're very soil conscious, soil health minded.
But they also, their state is much more active in it and promotes it. Yes. Whereas our state soil and water conservation districts are a joke.
Yeah, we just don't see, you don't hear about them very much anymore. They've kind of gone by the wayside in some areas. Now, I did meet this last week with a county that's very active, and super impressed with the people that were there. And the agenda that was on the, for the board meeting that month was really impressive, and I was super excited the kind of questions, that we were taking in, and to hear that their farmers are calling them saying, what do you know about carbon credits? What do you know about how can we expand our markets?
See, that's really nice because Lubbock County and several other counties, that's not how it functions.
That's not happening, yeah.
And that's not how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
But you and I have been at meetings where in South Texas, there's several counties down there that are absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And what they do with their producers and with schools and stuff. So there are some, but I've just noticed, like when we've been at different states, the states function on a completely different level than what the state of Texas does.
Yes, I think that is really true. It's and it's kind of a shame. I feel like it's something that we should be leading the way. We lead the way in so many things. Something that I've noticed about these other states, especially the ones like California and New Mexico that are very much more policy heavy, is that those really over policy, that over government involvement, I would say, has driven a lot of innovation.
It has driven some, but it also has driven people out and out of business. I think there is a balance in there. I mean, I look at Louisiana and what Louisiana does. And I mean, they're pretty diverse like Texas. We're kind of 5 states all in one and stuff. But Louisiana has done a fantastic job. Oklahoma.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my word. What Oklahoma has done, especially with their road work and tying that into water erosion. And
yes,
I mean, just
we'll have to. We've made some good friends in Weatherford with that Soil and Water Conservation District. We'll have to have those folks on to talk about the work that they've done. It's exciting. We were there Friday visiting with them again about they're mentoring us in some different programs that we're trying to develop. So we'll have to get those on. I think the listeners would enjoy hearing what they're doing in Oklahoma.
I think it's just amazing. And I like that we go and we just visit with people randomly all over the place. I mean, I left a cotton meeting and I was in North Carolina and thought, I'll just pop down to South Carolina. It's only 10 hours. And spent a week or about 4 days driving around with several different producers there and learning about what they're doing, what they're facing, and how they're approaching it. Because it's nice I like to learn from other people. I like to understand or try and understand what other people are dealing with, and then how can we utilize some of that? What can we do to fix some of our issues by learning from them? Cotter Farms loves to share our beautiful grass-fed and finished beef and pork with anyone who hankers for homegrown proteins. You can find us at cotterkeyfarms.com and at Out West Mercantile.
You know, as we've learned more about, in particular, Soil and Water Conservation District, there's a lot of people that are actually eligible to run for those positions and may not even be aware of it, especially in Lubbock County.
Well, that is a really funny thing because I did not know. My family's been in agriculture. I'm the 5th generation to run my family's ranching operation, and my husband's family has been farming cotton since they came over from Holland.
Yeah.
Who knows when. But he knew nothing about it. My husband's 72.
Right.
Did not even have a clue.
Right.
Anything about it. And when I was asked to be on the board, I thought I was going to be on a different board. It got to that first meeting and it's like, what? What is this?
What is this even?
But it's just sad to me.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything about it. We don't
Right.
do a good job of telling people.
Right.
And it's also people have been on those boards for over 30 years and they expect to pass it down to a child.
Right.
Instead of it being to where it's informational for the community.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to really change.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about the stuff that we're doing. I'm excited about the things that we've learned and excited really, especially to, introduce listeners to the people across that we've met across West Texas, and also I think we'll bring in these friends from other states and, but especially they're going to be interested in what people are doing in West Texas that are innovative ways that they're learning how to, boost income on the farm or building businesses in small communities. Nobody's getting rich, and but that little bit of extra market sure can help.
Well, and I think when you bring it back to the community level to where you start working together again as a community and building those bonds that used to be the mainstay of just everyday life, but especially in agriculture and stuff. And that's one thing that I've noticed where things have really changed in other states is they've gone back to community to where it's, they focused there first and then those changes just seem to blossom out.
And I wonder if, really, my mom made the comment the other day about how small the world is now. And the world has shrunk, but our communities have kind of disappeared in in the process of that. And I think it's a shame, but something that we can recover.
It is, and I think that there's a more people wanting to go back to that local community feeling and stuff to where you do visit with people in person again and not just everything is a sterile phone call or something.
Yeah. So it is hard though. I mean, it requires a change of our busy lifestyle, slowing down again. Part of that, I remember we moved from Brownfield. We really been in Brownfield and we moved north just 90 miles. And, this was 30 years ago. It was funny how different the culture was, even just in that, like Brownfield was much more fast paced. And then where we moved to, which was up, the Muleshoe area, it was so much slower. And like there were still like people that had big gardens and, people that were, places closed on Friday at noon. It was so odd to us. And that's changed some even there now,
Yeah, it's changed. We started buying land in Bailey County in 1995 and started moving a lot of our ranching operation there and stuff. And it has changed in those years, but it's surprising how many of the people are still there. And I like sparse communities just because I'm not huge on huge crowds and I like to just look around and see land. But it's also nice to know that, my neighbors, if I need something, they'll come
there.
and vice versa.
Right.
And I think that is one of the things that people are missing and that they really calls to them is just that small community, whatever it is.
Right.
I don't visit with my neighbors every day, but, we wave and
Yes.
there's still that bond.
Right, right. And those celebrations my mom was telling me about, she was at a baby shower this last weekend, and she said it was just like the old times. There were so many people there and so many gifts celebrating the birth of this baby. And, that's just such a blessing of being in a small community, is being able to know your neighbors, and to quote my mom again, the other thing about being in a nice community, you have time to get over issues you have with people. And if you live there long enough, you wind up having coffee with them when you're 80.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, really, that's a great thing about, a small town and just the humanness and being able to extend those bonds over so many years. But we're excited about this podcast and the people that folks are going to meet. We've a few that we've already talked to, right? Or Matt Campbell with West Texas Meat. He's in Seagrays, and I believe he's third generation out there. Lacey, is that right? I think he's third generation. His granddad owned that, and then his grandson's
working with him, and yes,
yeah, it's a great story. And then we talked to Kyle Bingham for quite a while. Bingham's out at Meadow, so they have Bingham Organic Farms, Bingham Family Vineyards, and their wineries. They've just opened another winery, so lots going on with them. They've grown some hemp and sesame. If it can be grown, they've grown it.
That's what's so fun about them is they try all sorts of stuff.
I love them.
They're more than happy to tell you what worked, what didn't work, and they're not afraid of their failures.
Exactly.
And I find that refreshing.
That's exactly right. Another friend of ours, Lacy Jowers and Lance, her husband, 1901 Bison. That's a great interview, and we've got some also great footage from their ranch, some beautiful footage. So that'll be on the website also. And then, of course, we've interviewed you, Lacy, about Carter Key Farms. So
yes,
that was fun. And then what I'm really looking forward to, we've got a roundtable discussion with several producers, including you, about different things that they're trying, what's working, what's not working, ideas, how can we collaborate, stuff like that.
Well, one of the things that really excites me about the upcoming roundtable discussion is you've got people who are organic and conventional. And one of the things that I love is these gentlemen that we've invited to visit with us, they're happy to have a conversation. They're not dead set in any one thing.
Right.
And that's what makes it so nice is you can have a conversation that explores a lot of different things without somebody getting their feelings hurt that you don't believe that in just their way of farming.
Yes, exactly. It's really important to let people explore and be successful or fail either way, but this is a no judgment zone. This is a place to come and talk about ideas.
It's not a one size fits all
That's
either.
Right. Exactly.
Different things work in different places for different people.
Exactly. And so we'll feature those producers there. We'll feature them on the roundtable, and then we're going to interview them separately too. So exciting time, some good stuff coming up.
It's amazing to me, all the things that people are doing that we have no clue about.
Exactly.
I love to go and see what other people are doing and just find out a way that we can make that work here.
Exactly. Well, and to that point, if any of our listeners know someone that is doing something, I don't know about you, but I don't care if it's even successful. It's time to try everything.
But it's also interesting to know what didn't work and to figure out why.
Exactly.
Because just the difference in farming from brownfield to Lubbock.
Yes.
What doesn't work for somebody over there could work for us here and vice versa.
Exactly.
And, I just like to visit with people, anything ag-related, conservation-related. It calls to me.
Yes.
It is definitely where my heart
absolutely
tends to be.
Rural development, I care about, Brownfield, the town that I grew up in, and Earth, where I raised my kids, and I love to, if people know people that are trying new things, or if they're trying new things, like contact us. Our email is really easy. It's just contact at SARA. It's just SARA -conservation. And easy enough.
It is. Easy enough. We look forward to visiting with people and knowing what's going on around us. And hopefully you guys will enjoy some of the people we've met.
Absolutely. Well, this is Tillery Timmons-Sims and
Lacy Cotter-Vardeman.
I hope you'll join us next time.
Thanks.